So it's my pleasure now to introduce Nick Bear. Nick is a Ranger Qualified Infantry Officer, former, I should say, commissioned in 2013, which would, if you do the math, I was commissioned in 1983. So like 30 years difference.
A little bit of time.
Yeah. And as a platoon leader at Fort Hood, Texas, where I did the CTLT program when I was a ROTC cadet, I did that at Fort Hood. He began also working on building a business that he'd actually began when he was in college. Bear Performance Nutrition is now successful and continuing growing business. And his Instagram is getting close to 400,000 followers. I say, since you're on Gallant Fuse VetXpo today, by the end of today, you'll be like 500,000. So
that's what I like to hear.
All right. So I'm going to turn over control of this to you, Nick, and we'll let you, I'm going to make you the host. And actually, I'm going to make you spotlight video. You don't need to share your screen. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Then, sir, you can take it away. And I'm going to let you talk. If at any time you want me to engage with you, just holler.
Okay. No, I appreciate it. So I'm going to kind of be talking about, my experience, my perspective of transitioning out of the military and maintaining a level of fitness and focusing on training and nutrition. So to give kind of more of a brief intro, like Carl already did, my name is Nick Bear. I am the CEO of Bear Performance Nutrition, a dietary supplement company based out of Central Texas. We're in a town called Round Rock, Texas, which is about 20 minutes north of the city of Austin. I graduated in 2013 with my Bachelor's of Science in Nutrition. I'm Precision Nutrition Level 1 certified. And immediately after graduating with that degree in nutrition, I went on to serve 4 years as an active duty infantry officer. Now, a year before graduating college, I started what is now today Bear Performance Nutrition out of my small college apartment. I was in a 10 by 10 foot room and no clue what I was doing in terms of business, but I learned it was 8 years and we're now in a 20,000 square foot headquarters down here in Central Texas. So we've had quite the story and we built quite the following along the way, sharing our story, sharing our process and our progress and kind of building a community around that. And that's kind of what the premise of what I want to talk about today is. A few weeks ago, I was working with our director of marketing, Trey Freeman, and he brought up this quote and it was, hey, if we want to go fast, we can go alone. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you're going to go far, go together. Trey obviously didn't make up that quote. It's been around for a while, but it is tried and true. And I think coming from a military background and talking to veterans, if you think about it, you can apply that to your entire life. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I'll tie this back into fitness and training and nutrition here a little bit. But I want to talk about what happened when I transitioned out of the military. I was in the military for 4 years, 4 years active duty, and I thought the transition process would be easy, and it was to an extent. I mean, I did a lot of planning, a lot of preparing for the transition, but I think one of the things that I more or less struggled with was leaving this community, this group of a family that I had in the military, and that's where it was different. I think that's where a lot of veterans, a lot of people transition out of the military struggle with is you build this culture, you build this family, you have people you see every day. And then when you transition out, you're most likely by yourself trying to figure it out. And, when you're in the military, you are forced to work out because if you don't train, you don't go to PT, you don't work out outside of PT. There's a possibility of not passing a PT test and meeting height and weight standards and getting kicked out of the military, to the extremes. You have this family, like I said, you have this culture, you have standards, and you have things that you are held accountable and responsible for. And what happens when a lot of people transition out is you don't have this anymore. Right? You don't have these standards you're being held to. You're not being forced to wake up and go to PT. There's no, if you don't make didn't pass this PT test, you're getting kicked out of life or your next job possibly. And when I transitioned out of the military, I was by myself. I was with my brother, but essentially going from, an infantry company of 100 plus people down to being with 3 people on a daily basis. I felt alone and by myself. And I debated whether or not to go back into the Army. I thought about going back into the Army because I missed that culture. I missed that competitive nature. When you're in, especially in the infantry, at least in my platoon, in my company, there was this high competitive nature to be better and the best, to push yourselves against the people to the left and the right of you, whether that in your job, in your skill set, in promotions, in PT in the morning. If your buddy's running next to you and you're running 6 miles, you want to beat your buddy. Like I'd be running with my company commander. I'd always want to beat my company commander. There's this competitive nature in the military. And when you transition out, you don't have that. There's nothing forcing you to maintain that discipline, which is crazy to think because coming from, the military, and a lot of people, when they enter the military, they gain this discipline, right? This discipline is instilled in them and it becomes second nature, it becomes part of them. And when they transition out, for a lot of people, they lose that. They lose that discipline to wake up and work out, to eat healthy, to get in the best shape of their life, to pass certain schools or get promotions, or just be a better version of themselves against their peers. A lot of people lose that. And I saw that within my own platoon, where I saw a lot of people transition out and essentially let themselves go. They stopped working out. They stopped eating healthy. They didn't have standards anymore. There was nothing holding them accountable at all because they were alone. And when you're together, when you're in this community, when you're with a group of people, it pushes you to go further. When I think of things that I can do from a business perspective to kind of give some background, some concepts to this. When I first started my business, I was doing everything by myself because, for one, that's all I could afford. I couldn't afford to pay anyone else. I couldn't afford to bring on skilled workers or experienced workers. So I had to do everything myself to move as fast as I could. When we started building the brand, I could bring on more people. We weren't moving as fast, but I knew the impact and the longevity we had would be so much further if we brought on the right people. Now, when I transitioned out of the military, I said I struggled with this concept of not having this group of people, this team anymore. But by no means did I fall out of shape. That's just something that's been a part of my life forever. I've loved training. I loved proper nutrition. I've loved maintaining a level of fitness. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that when I transitioned out of the military, I stopped running, I stopped working out, I started eating like crap and going to fast food. No, that didn't happen to me. But everyone's transition is a little different, right? Where I thought about going back in was the fact that I've missed that culture. And I ended up creating that here within our own business. I essentially created our own business here. I missed that culture. And when I transitioned out, like I said, I didn't fall out of shape. But what is hard is relative. And I think it's really important, especially pointing that out to the military community. I think the military community, the veteran community, it's a very prideful job. It's a very prideful position and a place to come from. So a lot of times you don't want to admit that something is difficult, something is hard. And what I've learned, I just turned 30 years old. Or what I learned over the last 20 years of my life, maybe, is that what is hard is relative. And when I say what is hard is relative, what is relative is what's hard for me might not be hard for you. What is hard for you might not be hard for me. It's different. Some people transition, or some people struggle with the transition physically. Some people struggle with the transition financially. Some people struggle with the structure that the military has created. And there's this book called Tribe by Sebastian Junger. And he essentially talks about we create this tribe or these tribes in society, which describes the military to a T, of like-minded individuals, like-minded people working towards a similar goal, mission, or objective. He talks about how we all, or at least most people, thrive and strive to be a part of a tribe, to be a part of a group of people with similar interests, with similar characteristics, with similar missions. You know, he says it's about what we can learn from tribal societies about loyalty and belonging in the eternal human quest for meaning. So that's the way he describes part of the book Tribe. We all want to be a part of something. And I think that's why so many people are attracted to that military lifestyle. When you get a part of it, whether that's a team in sports in high school and college, or maybe a fraternity in college, or then you join the military and you have your squad, your platoon, your company, your battalion, your brigade. You are a part of this society with like-minded individuals working towards this same mission, and you're accepted and you feel a part of something. And I think we all need to be a part of some sort of team. And when you try to do it by yourself, like I said, you can go fast, but it can be a short road. But if you come together, you can go further. And this is all coming together in terms of nutrition and training. And what I'm trying to get at right here is when we're in the military, and when veterans are active duty military or reserves or National Guard, whatever component you're a part of this tribe. You're a part of something. And there's meaning behind what you're doing. There's a purpose. You're serving your country. There's a mission you're working towards and on at the moment with a group of people. There is direct purpose and meaning behind it. And there is external and internal motivations to wake up, go to work, work out, eat healthy, work out after work, get the best PT score possible, stay in shape. There is an internal and external motivation behind it. But when people transition out, not everyone, but some people, like I said, what is hard is relative. When some people transition out, they lose, or at least I think they lose that tribe. And when they lose that tribe, they lose that meaning, that culture, it all starts to fall apart. You don't have that structure anymore. You don't have that internal or external discipline. You don't have that tribe, or at least you don't think you have that tribe. And one of the things to do is to find a tribe again, to find a group of people to be a part of. And when our director of marketing, Trey, was telling me this phrase, and I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, I was like, this is absolutely perfect. I was trying to tie it into what I've seen some of my soldiers that I had when I was a platoon leader going through. And I stay in contact with them via email. I see what they post on social media, phone calls, text messages. I see the things they're going through in terms of weight gain, financial struggles, relationship struggles, employment opportunity struggles. And what I see happens a lot of time is when you lose that tribe, you lose that discipline, you lose that motivation, it's like this snowball effect. What happens is so many people, as you transition out and you lose that tribe and you lose that structure and you lose that meaning and you lose the reason to wake up and train and work out and eat healthy. And it's this snowball effect. And what you would think is the only thing you're losing is your physical shape. Yeah, you might say, I might not be able to run 5 miles anymore. I might not be able to knock out 100 push-ups anymore. I might not be able to knock out 100 sit-ups anymore. So be it. But it's this trickle effect, this snowball effect, where it's not just not being able to run 5 miles. It's not just being able to do 100 push-ups anymore. It affects everything else in your life. It really does. There's a discipline to stay on top of your physical fitness and your diet and nutrition because it affects every aspect of your life in terms of your relationships, your energy levels, your digestion, which affects every other part of you. One of the things that I tell the guys here at work is we are in the business of changing the world. Like, we have the responsibility of changing the world. And it sounds heavy, it sounds deep, and it sounds maybe a little much from a dietary supplement company. But this is the way I explain it. I say, we have this responsibility to change the world because we are creating content in terms of motivational content, educational content, how to train, how to eat, motivation to wake up and take action in your life and keep going. And when we create this content, we create these amazing products, we create this community, which I'll get to in a little bit. Maybe it reaches the right person at the right time. And that person who's in a slump finds this community, starts eating healthier, starts taking care of themselves, then in turn is nicer to their spouse, is then in turn performing better at work, is then in turn finding more financial freedom. Any impact on someone's physical, mental well-being can only improve every other aspect of their life. And so many people think that transitioning out and just letting themselves go by not being able to run or do push-ups or do pull-ups and steps anymore is just from a physical PT standpoint. But no, it affects every other aspect of your life. And finding this community. So you might be asking yourself now, okay, you told me I transitioned out of the military. I lost my tribe. I lost my structure. I lost my discipline and motivation. What do I do next to gain all this back? Like, how do I get back on track? And there's a few steps, and I'll dive into a little deeper of things that I recommend doing. But one of the first things I want to do is tell a story. So I think a lot of people need to find their community, like some sort of community, whether online or offline. And when I say joining a community, it doesn't mean you sign up and pay your dues. You're not paying a membership to be part of the triathlon community. You're not signing up to be and pay for, some other sort of community. It doesn't have to be paid for. It can be free. You can find it online. And that's something we've tried doing and we have successfully accomplished with our business, our company, which is why I want to invite you guys to ours. It won't cost you anything, right? All you have to do is literally follow us on social media, the things we post, the things we share. And if you adapt the mindset and you engage with it, you're part of the community. You're part of the family. And I started this company, in 2012, and it took some years to get it off the ground. It really did. We had some hard, unsuccessful years, which then turned into building the business it is today. And in 2018, we were still finding our way. And I was training for a marathon. It was my first marathon, maybe my second marathon. And I was documenting all of this online on social media. And there was this one run, and I talk about this in my book. My book's called 25 Hours a Day. And it's about building my business and the brand and the community while in the military. And there's this one day I'm running, and I had 19 miles. I believe it was 19 miles to do that day. And I'm at like mile 8. Or no, sorry, I had 18 miles around that day. I'm at like mile 8, and I'm just sucking. If you've ever gone for a run, if you're a runner, some days you got it, some days you don't. Some days you feel like you can walk on water. Some days it feels like mile 1 and mile 20 feel like the same thing. They all feel like dog shit. The best way to describe run sometimes is that first mile sucks. Miles 2 to 5 feel like butter. Mile 6 to 8 feel like you're dying. Mile 9 feels good. Mile 10, you're just dragging ass. Some runs just go that way. And on this specific day, it was a shit run day. I was just feeling like crap. I'm at mile 8. I'm just like, damn, I did not want to finish this run today. And in my head, I just thought, Nick, stop being a little bitch. Go one more mile. Go one more mile than you're supposed to go that day. So what I did is I ended up running 19 miles that day and took the bill of my hat off and I wrote one more on the bill. And I took a picture of the bill, posted on social media just to share the story. And over the next couple of weeks and months, hundreds, thousands of people were tagging us online of pictures of the bill of their hat saying one more. Just an external motivation factor saying, hey, when I'm sucking today, I'm sucking through this workout, I'm sucking through this meeting, this job, I'm having a rough day with my spouse, take the hat off, look, just go one more. And it's this mindset we created, this community we created where it's not just going one more rep in the gym. It's not just going one more mile on a run. It's not just working one more hour in a day. It relies on the concept of compounding effort. If you applied one more, maybe that's one more hour of work, one more rep, you're fighting with your spouse, and just one more day, just work on this one more day. And this effort compounds over time when you apply the go one more mindset over and over and over again. And we built this online community, online and offline community, around the concept of go one more, to internally and externally motivate people to push themselves. And we've built this online community under Bear Performance Nutrition, BPN Subs, on Instagram, on YouTube. You can type in BPN Subs or Nick Bear, and you can find this community that we've created. We've created this community by creating content, documenting our journey with building the business, training, nutrition, and all these people contribute engagement and stories and motivation and how their life has changed to motivate others. And the community engaged with each other. It's an amazing thing to see. Absolutely amazing thing to see. And I tell that story because I'm not saying once you leave the military, your tribe is gone. You don't have to just go try to find more military groups. You can find a tribe, a group of people with similar interests that want to be on the same mission as you all over the world in any town. If you go on a run, meet someone there. If you have Strava or Garmin Connect, find groups of people in your local area. You can find, like, if you have Strava, set up a Strava account and find groups of people going on training sessions or working out or do group training or open it up on social media. Find people around you to keep you accountable and choose the right people. You know, that's the problem that happens a lot of time is you transition out of this group as a veteran. You transition out of this group of people that are disciplined because they're forced to in the military. They have leadership down their throat if they're not. And there's internal discipline that builds in the military community. There is internal discipline that builds. And you don't have to go far to find people who are going to help you reach your goals in the military. You really don't. They're all over the place. When you transition out, they may not be there all over the place. You have to go and find these people that are internally motivated. But the thing is, you have a choice of who you surround yourself with. You know, they say your work ethic, your character, your values are an average sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with on a daily basis. And it's true. If you surround yourself with lazy, unmotivated, negative people all the time, that's what you're going to become. But it's up to you when you transition out to actively search for people, search for a community that holds you responsible, holds you accountable, and helps you maintain this level of fitness in terms of training and nutrition to keep going one step farther, to keep going one more. Like I said, when you transition out, it feels like as soon as you're out, you're free and you go as fast as possible in every direction. And you can go fast alone. You can. But if you want to go far, you have to go together and you have to find this community. So when you get out, and maybe you've been out for 1 month, maybe you've been out for 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years, it's never too late to start this transition process. It's not this thing like when you You know, when I transitioned out of the military, we had this transition assistance program, and a lot of it was garbage. It was check the box, check the block, do this, do that. Good, you're good to go. And there's this mandatory transition period time when you're leaving active duty service to successfully transition you out. But it doesn't mean like you have to do that transition right there and then. It doesn't matter what step of the process you're in. Like I said, 6 months, 5 years, 10 years, you can transition. You can work on that transition at any point. But there's necessary steps along that way. One, you need to build a plan. And you can't build a plan until you've established your goals. What are your goals? Is it, okay, I want to maintain a level of fitness. I want to maintain a healthy diet. I want to learn how to balance and prioritize maintaining shape while also supporting my family, my kids, my job, my hobbies. Establish goals, build a plan, find a support community, and take immediate action. I think it's every part leading up to that, establishing your goals. So many people say, I want to run a marathon this year. I want to do a sub 6 minute mile this year. That's easy to establish your goals. I can say right now, I want to qualify for the Olympics. That could be establishing a goal. But if I don't take immediate action on that goal by following through with a plan with a support community, it means absolute jack shit. Without taking immediate action on the things you want to do, it means nothing. And a lot of that comes down to prioritizing what's important to you in life. And I think a lot of people, when they transition out, they prioritize, I'm free now. I'm going to soak up my freedom. I'm going to do whatever I want for the next 30 days, which turns into 60 days, which turns into 6 months, which turns into 6 years, which turns into, damn, it's 30 years later. And I'm still enjoying this freedom of transition out of the military. But it's taking immediate action on those goals right away. And one of the reasons so many people, I've worked with so many people along the way with fitness and nutrition. And what I've realized, and this is my one big piece of advice, because I could sit here and tell you, here's the foods you should eat. Here's the training program you should follow. Here's how many times you should run a week and a day. None of that really matters if you don't understand the concept of building this structure back into your life. Okay, I have to be at work at 6. I'm going to wake up at 4 and go work out. I wake up at 5 and I go run every morning before getting into the office here at 8. Because one of the things I know we all learned in the military is the beauty of backwards planning. The beauty of backwards planning. I can't believe, like, when I went into the military and I entered active duty service and I learned about backwards planning, I thought, holy crap, this is groundbreaking, revolutionary information that is so common sense that no one applies. And so many people that transition out of the military just forget all about it. The beauty of backwards planning. That's how you're going to prioritize your goals when it comes to working out and eating healthy. And I feel like we don't have to break it down Barney style of backwards planning, but say, for example, we backwards plan in our day. We know we wake up at X. We go to bed at X. We have to be at work at 8 a.m. We plug this in. You can even get a whiteboard. You get a whiteboard, big piece of paper, and you block off when you can't do things. Like I have to work, say, for example, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's blocked off. That's work. I can't do anything in between that except for work. Okay, well, I need to work out. So things I need to do today, make a little list to do. I need to work out. I need to prep some food. I need to take the kids to soccer. I need to have dinner with my family. You start plug and playing these. And that timeline extends to the left or the right based off all the things you have to do for the day. That's how I determine what time I wake up in the morning based off of what I have to do that day. When I wake up and when I go to sleep, that is all backwards planned the day prior based off of what I need to do in that day. Backwards planning. One of those things we've all learned that we should never lose the ability to do. And the last thing I want to talk about before I really just open it up to questions, I wanted to speak for half the time and do questions the other half the time, is I truly believe one of the reasons so many people are unsuccessful when it comes to the transition out, I mean, not just veterans, but anyone in general, when it comes to reaching goals, objectives around fitness, body changes, performance, fitness, and nutrition, is that there's this either all in or not at all approach. Now, everything I personally do is it's all in, right? When I want to do something, I am all in. And I've built this discipline, I've built the structure of my life to facilitate that. But what happens with so many people is you go from 0 to 100 so quick that you get burnt out. I'll give you a clear example. Say I transitioned out of the military. I took 6 months afterwards, didn't run half a mile, didn't pick up a weight, didn't do a push-up, gained 20 pounds, and I feel like crap right now. Like, got this beer belly, feel out of shape, walking up the stairs, I'm like gasping for air. I'm unhappy, I'm unmotivated. That's the point I'm at right now, for example. And so for some reason, I have this awakening moment where I say, I need to get my shit together. So it snaps. I cut out all the bad food I was eating. I start running every morning. I start lifting weights every afternoon. I eliminate all my friends that don't help me reach my goals. I stopped going to social outings and gatherings. Just cold turkey. Flip the switch, change everything. And what typically happens there is it works for a short period of time, but there's this burnout. What I'm telling you is you don't have to flip this switch and change everything to reach the goals you want to. The best way to do it is make these small incremental changes that slowly add up. So say, for example, again, I am this veteran 6 months out, feeling like crap, looking like crap, and I want to make this change in my life. I evaluate the things I'm doing. Maybe one of the things I do is instead of driving to work, it's a mile away, I walk to work and I eliminate sodas. Or maybe every day for lunch, I go to McDonald's. I stop going to McDonald's for lunch and I replace it with chicken and rice. I make one small change at a time. And this one small change you make, you let it adapt to your routine, your structure. It's not overwhelming. It becomes part of you. You make some momentum moves, you make another change and another adaptation. And you slowly start making these changes to your life, to your structure, to your routine, to your diet, to your fitness. And over a longer period of time, you're going to have this new you that is sustainable and long-term, and you've adapted to. So instead of just this big switch of changing everything, make these small incremental changes along the way so you can reach long-term sustainable success and results. That would be my biggest tip when it comes to nutrition and training to get back to where you want to be. Small incremental changes to allow your body to adapt, to allow your mind to adapt, your routine to adapt, and get better over time. So with that being said, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Find that community, find that tribe. Just because you transitioned out doesn't mean it doesn't exist anymore. There are groups of people out there that want to help you reach their goals because they want to reach their goals as well. So let's jump into this Q&A a little bit. Nick, what was the most common mental trap you found yourself stepping into while you were building your business? It's business related. There were a bunch. There were a bunch of mental traps that I found while building my business. I think the first one was I quickly realized I was naive when I started my business. I was like 21 years old. I thought I was going to make $1 million year one. told my dad that. I said I was going to make $1 million year one. And what ended up happening is I quickly realized, and I was humbled with how much I didn't know about building a business, specifically about building a supplement company, how much I needed to learn, how much more money I needed, and how much more help I needed from other people. I quickly realized how important it was to have a team, because I realized I can only do so much by myself. My bandwidth, the amount of things I can accomplish in a day, while also having a personal life, while having a family, while balancing all these things, I had to do with a group of people I couldn't do by myself. So I was very quickly humbled with what I didn't know. But I think what you need to realize is you are a learning machine. You have the ability to learn everything with resources online and from other people and mentors, and it's going to take time. You're not going to learn everything you need to know overnight. It might take years. In my case, it took years, but you are that much stronger when you do. All right, next question. It's been awesome to watch the growth of BPN, and I applaud what you and your team have built. What is next for BPN? So this past year has been a big growth year for us. We've grown about 400% this past year. And one of the big things we've always done and I've always been an advocate of is reinvesting back into your brand and your business as you grow and you scale. This past year, we reinvested money back into the team. So we brought on more employees to handle more work. We reinvested back into our warehouse operations. So we built out an automated warehouse fulfillment center. So we have conveyor belt. We've automated a lot of the manual labor processes to make it just go faster and smoother. The workload for each order fulfillment specialist is a lot less, and we can pump out 4 to 5 times many orders as we could without these new systems. We've reinvested money back into testing for banned substances. So 2021 is a big year because we're launching this new initiative, which is I can't really talk about it yet because we haven't launched it, and we've been working on it for about a year now. But it's essentially how we are regulating ourselves as a dietary supplement company in a non-regulated industry. So essentially, the dietary supplement industry is not regulated. The FDA only gets involved if they have to. So we're creating systems and processes to regulate ourselves for transparency, service, and integrity purposes to fulfill our mission statement that regulates ourselves in a non-regulated industry. So we're taking some strides in a way that we haven't seen done in the supplement industry before, that we think and we know are really going to separate us from some competitors. Any other questions about business, about really anything?
Nick, we asked some folks, we just posted asking them if they have questions. Use the Q&A function in the chat, and then we'll be more than happy to pass those along to you. And you're seeing them also because you're answering them there.
Yep.
But I wanted to, let me see, let me unspotlight your video for a minute because here we go. Let's see if we can maybe go back and forth a little bit. Yep. But you talked about Tribe earlier. That highly recommended. That's a great book. And your concept of being part of a community, I think, is tremendously important because a lot of people, they wait to be invited. They wait for somebody to ask them to be part of something. And I can tell you from moving to the Dallas-Fort Worth area about 8 years ago, if I didn't go join a Rotary Club and go find a gym to go to and go ask somebody to come work out with me, I would be sitting at home not knowing anybody, not enjoying the things that the Dallas area has to offer. So I think it's incredibly important that you don't wait to be invited, right? Go get involved.
Yeah, I actually heard a quote yesterday that I loved. I think it was something along the lines of, a closed mouth never gets fed. So if you're if you want this tribe, if you want this group of people, if you keep your mouth closed and you go and go search for it, it's not going to come find you. It's one of those things where it might be uncomfortable. It might be unnatural for a lot of people, but you have to put yourself out there to be fed by that group of people.
Teresa said, I couldn't agree more with needing the sense of community. And Rod asked, I'm now 53 and the 25 pounds out of shape and unmotivated that you just mentioned. I run 2 businesses and have 2 small girls, 3 and 1, and a great wife that I'll require and deserve attention. I don't function on 4 to 5 hours of sleep, but fitness ends up being on that part of my backwards calendar. Any suggestions how to push through and still get a bit of sleep?
Yeah, man, I would say, I mean, I'm personally not at that point in my life yet. Me and my fiance get married in less than a month now, and we'll start our family after that. So I'll be learning the struggles of balancing all that. But I think what I've seen with some of my friends who have families and kids successfully to maintain their fitness is make it a family thing. You know, maybe you create this family workout once a day. Maybe it's 20, 30 minutes you all do together to maintain a level of fitness where every morning everyone goes out in the garage and does little Metcons and push-ups, pull-ups, they'll run some burpees. Or maybe your wife goes for a little workout while you watch the kids, and then you go for a little workout or vice versa. It's one of those things where you don't need an hour and a half and a drive to a gym to get a workout. You can accomplish a lot of things from your home. And I think a lot of us learned this from COVID and gym shutting down is there's a lot of things to maintain your level of fitness right at your home, right where you live.
Got one from John Gomez. Are you able to read that one?
Yep. It says, you've been a great motivation from the baton videos to running. I've lost over 100 pounds in the last year. That's awesome. Congratulations. And I'm hitting a wall with motivation and such. What is the best way you establish your goal to get yourself out of bed at 4:30 and work out? Of course, your self-discipline. I think a big thing is, and I see this especially from a content creator online, is when you're just going through the motions, it kind of feels like you don't have that purpose anymore. And I think losing 100 pounds, that right there is a massive goal. It's a massive accomplishment. But I think after that, you need another goal. You need to keep working towards these micro goals. The big macro goal might be, I just want to improve my life. I want to be able to live a long, healthy life with my family and my kids and my spouse, and I just want to be healthier. But just going through the motions every day to fulfill that is difficult in a big, broad spectrum. One of the best things you can do is create these small micro goals along the way. And small micro goals could be something along the lines of, I want to run a half marathon. So you start training for a half marathon. I want to run a full marathon. Start training for a full marathon. Maybe you want to deadlift 500 pounds. You start training for that. And that's exactly the way I train. I set these small micro goals where if I don't have a goal that I'm working towards at the moment, I still train, I still work out, but it's not as fulfilled. There's not as much purpose behind it. I'm about to go back into a prep for an Ironman triathlon, which is a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and a 26.2 mile run. And I'm so excited to go back into that prep because it's another micro goal, and it creates a structure and it creates this routine again. And it humbles you. I mean, fitness can humble you for the rest of your life. Chasing these small micro goals of the big goal of life of being happier and healthier. So I think you constantly have to be creating these small micro goals that lead you and keep internally and externally motivating you. You'll keep seeing progress.
To find my unmute button again. So Nick, I really appreciate you being part of the VetXpo 2020 virtual experience. I know it's hard to sit there and look at the computer and pretty much you're looking at yourself while you're trying to talk. And, we have had we're between 40 and 50 people that are attending right now, which is phenomenal. We had no idea what we would get with folks that were coming on board. And traditionally with VetXpo, we get 100 people that come listen to a speaker live, and then we get 4,000 or 5,000 that watch it on the videos later. So getting your message and our message out to the veteran population is crucial, and that's why we do this. So thank you. Looks like Eric Schmidt has a question. I'll let you answer.
Here we go. The challenge is learning to change your original plans. When they are taken off the table due to issues out of your control, now finding a new starting place to move forward from. Yeah, I think it's life. I think there's no perfect scenario or situation in life. There's going to be things that are out of your control all the time. There might be a death in the family. There might be a change of work. A pandemic might hit. There's always going to be these things that come up at the worst possible times, situations, scenarios, environments. It might be when you're in the best shape of your life and you're feeling great, and all of a sudden you get an injury. But another part of fitness is mental and physical fitness is learning to be adaptable and flexible to, maneuver and still accomplish your goals, because we all don't live perfect lives. None of us live perfect lives where everything always happens the way we want it to happen. But I think understanding and realizing that we have to be adaptable and flexible to these changes is what makes it realistic in the long run.
Well, Nick, again, thank you so much for being part of VetXpo 2020 virtual. It's been an honor having you on, and I hope you stick around. Here's some of the other speakers. Come watch the videos later, and appreciate everything that you do for the community.
Thank you, Carl. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.